what's up, everyone? St. R. Edwards here. We're going to continue on in our guided project 2 called Apple Pie, where we're creating a game that's kind of like a hangman game where your user is guessing letters to complete the word that you have selected. All right, and so in this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to define a new round, and we're going to define some different variables and functions to help move the round along. All right. So one of the things that I forgot in the last lesson to add to the IB action button pressed function is to disable the letter button after it's pressed. So we don't want the user to be able to tap on a letter obviously after they have already tapped on it once. That can create a lot of issues. So let's do this. So let's say sender dot is enabled. Come on, next code, catch up. There we go. Is enabled, and we're going to say this is a bool, so we're going to say false. Now you can build or run your app just to test this out, but after you basically select the letter that's on your view, you won't be able to select it again in that same round. All right. Now speaking of rounds, we need to define a new round, but we'll get to that here in a second. So one of the things that we need to do first is we obviously need to create a list of words to put in our game. So the way that we can do that is by creating an array called list of words. And this can be anything that you can think of, but just to keep it simple, we're gonna use lowercase letters. So since I'm wearing a Chewy shirt and it's one of my favorite Mexican restaurants, I'll say Chewy's. I will say Houston. And since the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I'll say Eagles. And I'll think of something, let's say, I'll say playground. It's a bit of a long word, right? I'll do that. I spent some good quality time with my daughters this past weekend, so I'll use the word daughters. All right, shout out to my babies. Daddy loves y'all. And I'll do one more. Do another big word. I'll say microphone. All right, so it doesn't have to be a specific number. You can put however many words you want to in your array, but just make sure it looks like this. We have the square brackets. And with each word, we surround it by the quotation marks, and then the comma goes after that, and then you do a space, and then your new word. All right? So we do that. And then what we want to also say is that in each round, so there are a certain amount of attempts you obviously want to give your user for each round. So right now, in our assets folder, we have 7 different images of the apple tree, right? So from 1 to 7, you want to think about the different attempts. The lower the number, the harder it is for your user. So I'm just going to set the the variable or the constant to 7, by default. So we'll say let, and we'll say incorrect moves allowed, and this will be an integer. So we'll just say 7. So we'll give them 7 attempts. And we're going to eventually set that equal to the apple tree's image. All right. Next, we want to say you want to think about your wins and losses. So we'll go var total wins equals 0, var total losses equals 0, and this will be updated. This will be used in the score label. UI label here in a minute. So we're gonna set those equal to 0. And what else are we missing? So we got that. All right, cool, good. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we are able to keep up with the game state in a separate file, just to keep things clean and the way the Apple way of doing things. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a struct, and we're going to create a new file in doing that. And so you can do it one of several ways. So to create a new struct, you can do command N on your keyboard, Command and the N letter. I know I'm kind of country, so I don't know how that came out, but Command and the N letter. Or you can go File, and then you can go New, and then you can go File right here. And as you can see, Command N. All right. Or you can go to your Apple Pie folder over here in the File Navigator, and you can right-click if you have a mouse, or if you have a trackpad, you can just do the 2 fingers, 2 taps. All right, and then you can go New File, and this would be a Swift file, not a Cocoa Touch class for a struct. We're going to hit Next, and we're going to just call this Game. So I'm going to say Game, and I'm going to hit Enter, and it's going to create that. I'm going to drag this file from the bottom to the top by the view control. What is going on, man? To the view control. What is going on? You do what I say do, not what you want to do. There we go. All right, so dragged it from the bottom to the top. There we go. And this is going to be struct. It's going to be called game, if I could spell. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to define, basically in this game, we're going to define words, right? So we're going to say var words, or var word. And this is going to be a type string. And then we're also going to define the number of attempts that are remaining, all right, for our players, because we want to reset this each time, the game, restarts. So we're going to say var number of, let's lower this, let's decrease this. Let's say var incorrect moves remaining. I'll just say it like that. This will be of type integer. All right, we'll keep it like that for now. I'm going to Command S on my keyboard to save that file, so it's no longer like like the translucent black color. Now it's back to white. We saved it. All right, and so back on the view controller file, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new instance of our game file that we just created over in our struct file. So we're going to just call it this. We're going to say var, we're going to say current game, and it's going to be of type game. And this exclamation point is very important. We'll get to more of that in a later lesson, but just make sure that you place that exclamation point after the game word, just like I have it here on my screen. All right, and so this basically tells Xcode that hey, we know for sure that that this variable is going to be created. Like this is this is going to be here. Like so just just do it. Whenever you want to use it, just make sure you use it. Make sure you do it. Do what we say. All right. And so down in our underneath the view did load function, what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called new round. So we're going to say func new round, and we're going to define what we want to do in new round. But in the view did load function, we're going to call new round that we just created, right? And now we're going to put some stuff in here. So what you want to do is each time a new round is started, you basically want to take the first word out of the array, and you want that to be the word that the user is trying to guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to say var new word, and we're going to say equals. It's going to equal the list of words, and we're going to say dot remove. We're going to say remove first. All right, so this will remove the first one. So it says removes and returns the first element of the collection. So that's what we want to do. So we're going to do that, and then we're also going to say that our current game, in the initializer, we're going to define the values. All right, so we're going to say current game, and we're going to say equals game. And in this initializer, once it pops up, okay, so we have our word. All right, so what is our word going to be? Our word is going to be new word, because we know that our list of words dot removes first is going to take out that first word for us, and it's currently stored in the variable new word, which for me in my case is going to be the word Chewies. So the word that we want to use is going to be new word. All right, as you can see, that's a string, right? All right, now next, incorrect moves remaining. How many moves do we have remaining? As you can see up here in our constant that we defined up here, incorrect moves allowed is 7, and it's an integer. So all we got to do is put incorrect moves allowed. So now that is defined for us. All right, so that's also in our new round method. That's going to be called when the view did load. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to change this to a let. I'll just change this to a let so Xcode will stop bugging me for now. I'll do that. All right, whatever. So new word is a let constant now instead of a variable. All right, and so the next thing we want to do is we want to update the UI, right? So now we're going to go func update UI. And the reason why we want to update the UI is because there's going to be a change in the images, right? So it's going to start off with 7 images or 7 apples on the tree, but with each incorrect attempt, obviously it's going to go from 7 to 6, 5, so on and so forth. So we want to update the image, but we also want to update the score label as well after the round is complete. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our IB outlets up here in a little bit of a string interpolation. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say score label dot text, the text property, and it's going to equal score label dot text equals so we're going to do our quotation marks, and we're going to do string interpolation. But before that, so we're going to say wins colon, and in here we're going to say total wins, and then we'll do a comma, and then we'll say losses colon, and then we'll do string interpolation again, and in here we'll say total losses. My bad. There we go. All right, and then we're going to update the UI. We're going to update the tree image view. So we're going to say tree image view dot image, and that is going to equal. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do our quotation marks, and we're going to say tree, and then we're going to do incorrect moves allowed, or actually we're going to say current game dot incorrect moves remaining. And the reason why we can do it this way is because cannot assign value of type string to type UI image. Oh, my bad, guys. I did this wrong. All right, sorry about that. So we're gonna say UI image, and then we're gonna do our opening quotation mark, and then we're going to go down to the one that says named. All right, so named, and then we're gonna do this, and we're gonna say tree, and then we're gonna do string interpolation in here, and we're gonna say current game dot incorrect moves remaining. All right, now this is the correct way. Sorry about that. You know, it happens. It happens to the best of us. It'll happen to you. It happens to me. It happens to you. It happens to all of us. All right. So the reason why we can name it this way is because in our assets category, each tree is named. First of all, tree, and then there's a space, and then there's the number. From 0 all the way up to 7. So the way that works is this is basically an integer, right? This is the string, and then this is the integer. So with each different turn, each incorrect turn or whatever, the image is going to update because of the string interpolation that we put in here, and that matches the corresponding title that is in our assets folder. All right. So as you can see over here, when you look over in the attributes inspector for the for the first tree, for example, that I'm on in the assets category, as you can see up here, the image said the name is tree and it's 0. All right. So if you don't get it, you'll get it eventually. But it's not complicated. So now all we got to do now is we're going to add this update UI in our new round function as well. So now when the view did load is called, the new round function will be called, and also the UI will update. So the way we can test this is by building and running our app. So let's Command R to see if the score label and everything is updated once we get started. All right. So once the app pops up, you should be able to see your wins and your losses information, and of course it'll be set to 0 because we don't have anything going on yet. We haven't started anything, and so yeah. So down here, our label is set, to wins is 0 and losses is 0. All right, so we got that, and then if you click on a letter. Like I clicked on the letter A, as you can see it was blue, but now it's turned gray. If I try to click on it again, it won't do anything. I'm gonna do the B, and then the C, and so on and so forth. So yeah, as you can see, after you tap on the label or tap on a letter button, it is disabled now because of what we added, the property that we added in our function. All right, now we can also fix this. That was my fault because I set this to 0, but we should have set this to the safe area. As you can see, our tree is in the status bar, and that's a big no-no, so we can fix that. So I'm going to stop this project from running, and I'm going to go to the storyboard, and I'm going to fix this real quick. Now I'm saying, can you tell us one way, but now you got it another way? No, why are you teaching us wrong? I'm going to fix it. So let's go back to the storyboard after I stop getting the spinning rainbow, and after Xcode decides to catch up. We're going to get this thing done, all right? So I'm going to click on the tree image view, and I am going to go over to the size inspector. What we can do is we can go to the parent stack view up here, and we can do it this way. So we'll go to our size inspector on the parent stack view, and as you can see, as I'm on this one, it says align top to safe area, and for you it may be a little bit different. What it will probably say is it'll say align top view to super view. So what you can do is you can double click on it, and you can change the second item. If it says super view, you hit this drop down, you can change it to safe area. All right, as you can see down here. And then what you can do is you can change that from a -25 to you could change it to 10 or something, or 5 or whatever you want. Or you can do 0 because it's going to the safe area. And as you can see, that blue bar popped up, and this is where our time and our battery percentage and stuff will pop up. This is the safe area. So you can set that constant to 0, and then now when you rebuild and run your app, you should be all good to go. This has been Sanar Edwards with the Ski channel, Swift Coding for everyone. You guys stay tuned for more in this guided project lesson on the Apple Pie app. You guys take care.